Welcome to HeartTube. My name is Jim Putnam. Super excited to be at the Norfolk Botanical Garden. It's been on our list for a long time to visit, and we are with Les Parks. Can you give us your role here at the garden?
Yep, I'm the director of horticulture here. We have a staff in horticulture for about 37 people, and that includes all the gardeners as well as propagation and groundskeepers.
Nice. So Mark Wethington had some history here, and,
yes.
and so Mark was like, I reached out to Mark, who is the director at J.C. Ralston Arboretum, and said, can you think you can get us somebody at the Norfolk Botanic Garden? He's like, Les is the best. So,
we used to be neighbors too.
Oh, you were neighbors? Oh, okay, yeah. So that was. I had an easy in here. So we're starting this. This isn't necessarily the showy as part of the garden, but we're starting here for a reason.
Right.
Can you tell folks the origin of this garden?
So the Norfolk Botanical Gardens began as a WPA project in the 1930s, and it was sort of at the end of the Depression. The local shipyards had started rehiring, and so when they went to build the garden, they did not have an easy labor source. So they ended up hiring 200 African-American women. They paid them 25 cents an hour, about 20 men, and they cleared this wilderness in dresses and in hard shoes. It was a big undertaking, and then they planted thousands and thousands of azaleas, narcissus, rhododendron, and many other things. And we owe a great deal of debt to those ladies, who, by the way, were not necessarily welcomed here after the garden opened. So we've tried to rectify that and be as diverse and as welcoming as possible right now.
So you've gone back and tried to find the names, and you've got a plaque over here.
We have several of the names of the ladies that did all that work, and we celebrate them and we cherish them, and we invite them and their families, those that are still around, every year for our Heritage Day.
Nice.
Where we celebrate the hard work that they did for us.
Well, that's great that you acknowledge how this property came to be. We are surrounded by water.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost on an island, basically.
Yeah, we are a peninsula. Most of the water you see here was salt water in the early 1900s. It was dammed to become fresh water, so it gives us some really great habitat.
Nice. Well, let's look around.
Okay.
It's a really cool Japanese garden. You said the garden has some sister cities?
Well, the city of Norfolk has a sister city program around the globe, and one of them is in Japan. And this is sort of a celebration of our relationship with that sister city.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. It's beautiful. That's a lot of maintenance in here.
It is. They're supposed to look natural, but it takes a lot of work to make it look natural.
Yeah, every Japanese garden seems like the highest maintenance garden in there as its natural look. Yeah. We're avoiding a little rain, but we came into a beautiful space.
This is our tropical display house, and it's full of plants that don't like our mild winters, even if they are mild. So a lot of tropicals in here, a lot of desert and succulent plants, and some of these will find home in our new conservatory.
Okay, when does that open?
Should be next fall. We're hoping September or October of 2025.
And we saw it we parked in the main parking lot over there. It's big. How big is it?
The conservatory itself is going to be over 26,000 square feet.
Wow, okay.
Gotcha. And it'll be divided into two biomes, a tropical biome, which will be 2 stories, and then a succulent or desert biome.
Wow.
And it'll be connected with a skywalk to our new visitor center. So it's going to be something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. What is this structure called?
This is NATO Tower, and it's was constructed in honor of the NATO Treaty Organization, because Norfolk's the home of NATO in North America.
Okay, wow.
There's a staff college here where they do training. We have a big military community here, and we do rely on them a lot for volunteer help.
Nice. Yeah, it's a heck of a structure. And so the soil on this was from the canal building?
Yep, we have a series of canals through the garden. Guests can take boat tours, and they use the dredges for that canal to build this hill, because Norfolk has no elevation, so we take our hills where we can.
Is there any other public garden in the States that has a boat tour through it?
I don't think so. I think you have to go out the border to do that. So.
Right. And as you can hear the airport next to us. Okay, so the crepe myrtle's behind us. We can't pass over this. Tell us about the collection.
We are the only garden that has a recognized collection of Lagostromia or crepe myrtle in North America, probably the world. And it's recognized by the APGA, the American Public Garden Association, and the Plant Collection Network. And it's also the street tree, the city tree of Norfolk. So half of all city trees in Norfolk are crepe myrtles, which for someone who's not a big fan of monoculture, there's a few issues there.
You're right. Yeah. What variety is this that you have in this?
This one was planted so long ago. We're just calling it Lagostromia indica.
Okay, gotcha. Just not giving it a name. How long have they been in the ground?
These have probably been here since the mid 1960s.
Wow. Yeah. You don't do any hard pruning on them. None of the
keeping up with the suckers is hard. About the time we finish pruning all the suckers at the base, we have to start back where we began and keep going.
Oh, isn't that wild? So okay. Camellia collection. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the camellia, because that's one thing I've been told is I needed to come here. I'm not here during camellia time at all, not even close. But tell us about that collection.
Well, we have blooms from basically late October into April. We have about 2,000 plants in the collection, and it's an internationally recognized camellia collection.
Gotcha. And there's a lot of species, not just the Sanquas and Japonicas, but I saw a couple of
Yeah, every species that will grow here we try to have.
Nice. Any other gardens of interest that stand out in your mind?
Besides the camellias and the Japanese garden, I love the garden that's behind us. This is our subtropical garden. It's a collection of hardy gingers, bananas, palms, oleanders, anything that will look tropical and give you that feel, but will be hardy here in Zone 8B.
Right. So they can come here, see it, and actually know that they can actually use it as well. And you have a native.
We have a Virginia native plant garden. It's a lot of it is wetland species, because that's where we are. But we also have we're restoring a longleaf pine savanna, which is
is this about the northeastern extent of the longleaf pine savanna? So so from here to East Texas and down to the Gulf.
Well, you might know Norfolk's a big shipbuilding area. The whole area is, and it started here in colonial times because they were harvesting longleaf pine and live oak to build ships with, and sending lumber back to England. So it's tied to our history uniquely.
Wow. Yeah. We found one of our favorite spots in the garden for sure. This is your Conifer Garden.
Yeah, this is it's an American Conifer Society reference garden. So we worked with them to get accreditation, and we try to keep adding things every year. Of course, some conifers get huge. So lately we've been focusing on dwarfs and mid-sized conifers for new accessions. Yeah, and then we try to mix things into that are a nice complement to conifers. So it's not all conifers, and it really shines in the wintertime. It's pretty right now, but it shines in the wintertime too.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that's the one thing we point out about conifers. So your zone, you went from 8A to 8B on the new map. Raleigh went from 7B to 8A on the new map. And that's one of the things here is that you're going to find these conifers have, these are the 8B conifers. Right. You're not pushing,
we've tried in the past to do some of the spruces and firs, and they just don't like our summer heat and our lack of winter cooling. So we do a lot of cephalotaxis, a lot of thuya, a lot of juniper,
cryptomerias,
cunninghamias, all those.
Yeah, I saw the blue cunninghamia over there. So and Arizona cypress and other things. Yeah, so it's that list, and I talk about it pretty frequently, that you can have a pretty daggone good conifer garden.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I better point out the pampas grass is in the background. I know people are going to ask what that white thing is in the background. Yeah, it's a pampas grass. We're equally resistant on.
Well, it's pretty to look at. It's a pain to work around.
It is, and once they die, they're like really hard to remove.
But this time of year, they always look good.
Yeah, you're a little. it feels like on a couple things here in August. Your aloes are blooming a little, but have you noticed just overall fall blooming things triggering a little bit early?
Well, this whole year's been off because we had a cool winter that was steady cool, which we don't normally have. It usually goes up and down.
Yeah.
So we just eased right into spring, and we've had adequate rainfall. It's just been a really good year. So things are a little early.
Yeah. We crossed to the other side of the canal from the Conifer Garden, and then the larger conifers, the Cunninghamia and other things, look so good in the distance.
Yeah.
This thing's scaled so well.
Yeah, there's some beautiful specimens in there, and this is a good vantage point too. This is one of our newer gardens. It's called Le Jardin. The lady that helped us build it has an affinity for all things French, and she loves hot colors, so we really dove into that for the summertime.
Right. Yeah, we call our design at the house Clown College design, so we're drawn to vivid, bright spaces.
Well, I think people who live in southern climates, when in the summertime when it's white hot and things get washed out, you need bright colors. If you try to go pastel, they all come out looking too pale.
Right. Well, this is an absolutely beautiful space. Yep. What kind of turf are you? It's all Bermuda grass?
It's all Bermuda.
So you're fighting that out of the beds?
Yeah, it's a constant battle.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks great.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, our grounds department works on it hard.
Right.
And with all this rain we've been having, it's been growing like a weed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right. You guys have an incredible children's garden with this giant splash pad out here.
Well, it's a little rainy today, but normally this place is full of children, and they come in here mainly for the water, but while they're here they can get a little bit of an education too. They can visit a Mediterranean garden, an Australian garden, an African garden, a Siberian garden, rainforest, and North American woodlands. They can also see crops being grown and food that they can harvest and eat, and there's a Southwest desert garden, so they can get a real immersive experience in all the types of different biomes around the world.
Right, and you got these elms out here, Chinese elms that kind of keep it cooler, slightly cooler.
That wouldn't be my first choice because these have to be cleaned out of the drainage systems.
Yeah, the small leaves and small drains.
But they're beautiful trees. Unfortunately, I think they're showing up on a lot of states' invasive species lists.
Now. Yeah. And we've seen them out west. We actually saw we saw some spaces out west where these had just kind of taken over some wet areas. We've been to a lot of gardens where there's children's gardens, but they're usually all just separated, and they'll have like food, where they're teaching about food and that kind of thing. But this is a really clever design to have separated spaces by,
It's probably our most popular garden if you just look at the sheer number of visitors. But we get a ton of school groups in here, both public school, private school, and we have homeschool groups come in here, and we create program around education for youth.
Tell us about the butterfly house and area.
Yeah, this is one of our most popular gardens, and it is full of butterflies that are native to coastal Virginia. Right. And when guests come in here, they can see what kind of plants adult butterflies need for nectar, but also which plants caterpillars need for sustenance and to eat.
A
lot of people don't understand that. If you want to attract butterflies, you've got to have caterpillars, and they are going to eat your plants, which is the whole point.
Yeah, but these plants evolved with them, so they get eaten. They know they're going to get eaten down.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different species in here, but we don't do any exotic butterflies. It's just what someone might see in their own garden here. And then outside of the house is our butterfly garden, so people can get ideas on what they can do in their own house in their own gardens to attract butterflies and other pollinators too, because they're just as important as the butterflies.
That's one thing we've been pointing out some more on the channel is about also having things flowering. You need we tend to have very heavy spring flowering gardens, early summer flowering gardens. We don't have a lot of fall blooming perennials, which if you look around during that time of the year,
it's heavy.
There's a lot of perennials that have evolved to bloom that time of year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that we chose a long time ago to not use systemic insecticides and neonicotinoids in the garden, just because of how detrimental they are to pollinators, not just butterflies, but our native bees and flies too.
Right. Of course, the rain has them. They're not flying around today because the rain, but it is.
They need a rest day every now and then.
Yeah. So we didn't give you one though. You would have had one if we hadn't shown up in the rain.
So our summer exhibition this year is Funky Fungi, and we've asked local artists to create both indoor pieces of artwork and outdoor pieces of artwork showcasing the crazy forms and colors and mystique around mushrooms. It's been very popular and it's going to be up through September.
You had a hummingbird garden.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about this.
Well, all these plants in here were designed to attract and sustain hummingbirds. And one I really like a lot, we planted as an annual a long time ago, is this Cufia called Vermillionaire. It's not supposed to live here, but we've had such mild winters.
Yeah.
And I actually think the bumblebees like it more than the hummingbirds do. And bumblebees can't get their proboscis into the flower, so they'll come in and drill a little hole at the base to get the nectar out. Yeah, we have that on all of our salvias. It's amazing how adaptive they are to. You can't design a flower to stop me. Well, that's amazing that Cufia is continuing to. Got a beautiful floating bowl in here. I stole that idea from Chanticleer outside of Philadelphia. They're okay with it, I hope.
Yeah. You know what's funny is we went, go to Duke Gardens and or wherever, and it's like, where'd you see that? Chanticleer.
Yeah.
Chanticleer is always
it's the Mecca.
Yeah, it is, right. Yeah. Just it seems like they figure things out first somehow. This is an incredible. I mean, there's between the native garden, the camellia collection, the magnolia. There was a magnolia collection we haven't seen. We've skipped a lot. It's raining, as you can tell. We're probably I don't know what we look like now as we're filming this. Yeah. So thank you so much for braving this. We're going to walk over and talk about one more thing before we wrap this up.
Awesome. So Mirror Lake is where we started everything with the statue.
Yeah.
And this is Mirror Lake in miniature, and all the plants in this bonsai came from Mirror Lake, and the tray was made from wood that we had to cut down. We had a local carpenter build it for us.
So that's just a recreation of literally where we started this video.
Exactly.
In bonsai form. Yeah.
Exactly.
Isn't that amazing? So you have this bonsai display right at the back of the visitor center, and then you can come right down into the Japanese garden.
Right.
We saw the other side of
Correct.
Earlier. Wow, what a place! I'm actually absolutely blown away by this place. I mean,
well,
it's
I'm glad to hear
just
that.
beautiful. Yeah, it's surrounded by and completely surrounded by water. And I had always heard this was a great garden, but I had not, been able to visit.
Well, we kind of like to think that this is one more thing to do when people come visit this area. If they get tired of Busch Gardens or they've had too much of the beach and the sun and the sand,
Yeah.
they can come here, walk in the shade, and it's just really take a deep breath in this green space and really relax.
Right, and we didn't even point out Japanese maples, incredible tree collection,
Yeah.
cherries. When the cherries are in bloom, I would
Yeah.
imagine
Oh,
this
it's
place is beautiful. And azaleas, there must be, we've seen thousands of azaleas.
20, 30,000 azaleas.
20 or 30,000
Yeah.
azaleas. So there'd be a season.
There's something blooming 12 months out of the year.
Oh, wow, what a place. What a place. And how many acres did you say this was?
175 acres.
175 acres. So definitely put this on your bucket list garden. I mean, this is truly an amazing place. And thank you so much,
Yep,
Les,
thank you.
for
I'm
braving the weather.
I love to show the place off.
Yeah,
So.
thank you so much.